All right. So today we have Coach Beth on, and she's going to come and talk about community outreach, which is a big thing that she heads up for LAC. So, first off, welcome, Coach Beth. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be with LAC, what you do with LAC?
Absolutely. Um, I came to LAC with my husband, Coach Jeff Pishko, and our youngest son, who is a senior in high school right now. This is going on our third year this season. And we came to help get the Northwest site started with LAC.
How has that been? I know Jeff talked a little bit about that in his podcast, but what are your thoughts on how is that going?
It's been an exciting journey. It's been a lot of fun to watch and grow and see the kids that started with us 3 years ago and where they are now, and just the camaraderie that has been built over the last 3 years. I know that he mentioned to you we started 3 years ago with about 60 kids, and now we have over 300, which is very exciting in itself. We've also had the opportunity to bring on three amazing coaches, as well as Julie, who runs our stroke team
She's
and
one
swim
of the
lesson
amazing
program over there.
coaches.
And so we are really blessed in the fact that we have just been able to bring on an amazing team. And that has really helped bless us with being able to build our program where it is today.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what's your favorite part of coaching? Like I know you're getting to start the program and stuff, but
My favorite part of coaching, probably seeing the kids' confidence grow and seeing them get excited within themselves about things they accomplished that they never thought they could. But then I think also for me, it's my outreach. Um, I love being able to take those kids and give them life lessons through the challenges that I give them in practice.
mm,
So I think that's knowing that I'm helping in the community to create lifelong resilient citizens is a positive, exciting thing as well.
yeah, that's awesome. So for those who don't know, what age groups are you working with?
I work right now with the AGS group, which is the 11-12s, and then I work with Gold 1, or 10 and unders, or
Awesome.
9 and 10s.
And you got to go to tags last year, right?
I did. I've actually been for the last 3 years, but I did. I got to go to tags. I've been blessed. The first year we didn't have very many tags kids. The second year we've grown every year by at least 3 or 4.
That's awesome. Yeah, the outdoor tags, that's the one everyone keeps talking about
Oh,
still.
I love it. It's
Oh, they're
wonderful.
cute. No, that's good. So do you have any upcoming projects or areas of growth for Northwest as a site?
We are still developing and growing our pathways into our group levels, and that is exciting to kind of see where we're at with that. We've created a pathway for them, and we're tweaking it as the years go on and our program begins to grow and continues to grow. I know that one of our goals for the fall for next year is to build and bring in more of our silver and below program and keep building that program strong because that's the base of our future with that. But
Mm.
also continue to give what our older kids need as well. And we're pretty blessed with Jasmine and Walter and Jeff and Megan because I know having those coaches in place, we're going to be amazing.
Do you mean Jessica?
Who did I say?
You said
Yes, and
Jessica.
Jasmine though, and you, because Jasmine's our mental training. But yes, I meant Jessica. She's going to kill me.
I mean,
Yes,
I'm a blessing too, but I was like, I don't coach.
Jessica coaches our senior group and our silver too. So yes, absolutely.
They're both J's. It's easy to mix up.
Yeah, well, I have all three boys, Josh, Jacob, and Jordan. And
There
then
you
there's
go.
Jeff.
See, you're a fan of the J's. I fit right in.
Exactly.
Um, so tell me a little bit. I know Northwest is kind of unique in the community outreach program that y'all do. So tell us a little bit about that and how did that get started?
When Jeff and I came here 3 years ago, we were beginning to develop the program, and it was just he and I. together, we kind of sat down and came up with what our vision was going to be for uh, our 5-year plan and then for the future of the program. And one of the things that we felt really strong with being parents of 3 boys and then also being a grandma and grandpa, Nona and Papa, to a 1-year-old, one of the things we wanted to make sure we did was add outreach to our program. And we felt like our swimmers are so blessed in the fact that they have the opportunity to be able to do all these things because of their amazing families. But within that structure, there are a lot of families that people don't know are hurting. And so one of the things we wanted to teach to our kids was a way to give back to the community. So we reached out to our moms who run the group socials, and we said, "Hey, we want to do something." And Jeff came up with this great idea of, "Hey, we do a swimathon. Let's do swim for cans." And so from that, we kind of ran with the idea, and we started that within our first year. And basically, what it is it's a swim. What it is a swim for cans is basically a practice where we've taken for each group a certain number of laps equals a certain number of cans. And so for us this year, they're going to be picking up their bags on the 28th of October during the JSL meet. And then they're going to be bringing them back with a number of cans or even more on October 7th. And that's when we'll have our celebration of thankfulness, kind of do donuts and milk, which started 3 years ago. Um, but the exciting thing is that it was a great idea that's kind of evolved. And when we did it our first year with 60 kids, we ended up raising over 2,000 cans. And that was exciting. The kids got into it. The parents got into it. Everybody was excited. They loved it. And then last year, we did, instead of the swim for cans for our outreach, we ended up doing the 3,000 cards for troops because there was a school within an ISD that actually was trying to raise 3,000 cards. And when I was teaching at Hazlitt the year before, when I first started here, we did that initiative as well. And I thought it was a great way with our program having just grown last year to still do an outreach, but then do a different initiative. But my parents came back to me this year and they said, "Hey, we really want to do the swim for cans again because there's so many people within the community right now hurting with the economy and the way it's going. And we feel like this would really make a difference." And I said, "Absolutely, that would be fantastic." So we are so excited because the parents are on board. And the kids that did it with us 2 years ago, they're just excited that we're able to do that again. They kind of make it a personal challenge within each other as to who can bring the more cans. So it's really an exciting way for the community to come together and to give back to the community, but then also have that time to build the team socially outside of the pool.
Yeah, I feel like it's different, it's something different than just a normal practice. So the kids probably get into it and it's, I mean, a good feeling to like get to help other people. So that's really cool. So how
Yeah,
does
they like to stack the cans.
say sorry,
Sorry,
say it again?
they like to stack the cans. So the
Yeah.
first year we did it, each group stacked the cans and then they compared them. So I'm sure there'll be something like that again this year.
Well, it's that
But it
cool
gives us a chance.
visual too. Like instead of just, I feel like when you're doing a fundraiser, a lot of it is just online and you just see the number, but actually physically seeing like, oh, I'm taking this physical thing that's going to go to someone. I think that makes it a little different. And involving like the swim portion of like you're putting in work and that's benefiting somebody. I think it's a good motivator too.
And one of the things that we do is with working with NISD, we like to be able to give back to NISD because, like I said, it's not only a way for the swimmers to give back and become a part of the community, but it's also kind of as a way of saying thank you. We are blessed at Northwest with some great facilities, and we work with great staff, and we're really blessed in that aspect. So it's a way for us to be able to give back. But each month they have a food bank over at the administration building at NISD.
Mm.
And when the parents were telling me this story of wanting to do this, one of the reasons, there were a couple of stories, but one was they noticed that the line was getting longer for the food in the food bank. And the food bank that comes and does the mobile food bank in Tarrant County is the one that we end up donating to.
There's only one food bank in Tarrant?
There's a couple. I've actually looked it up. There's a couple different ones. I can get those to you.
Yeah.
But I know that our mom that's in charge of it. Uh, Actually, kind of took the cans last time, and bless her heart, I do have a funny story on that. When the first year we did it, we didn't expect that many cans, and she had only brought her GMC truck, and we almost broke the axles on it. There were so many cans. So there's always that story of, we had to follow her there just because we were so worried about her. But yeah, there's different food banks around, but we use that one because it's tied in with Northwest
Mm,
ISD, and it's also within Tarrant County.
that's awesome. So explain to me a little bit because I'm trying to in my head figure out. So the kids swim the laps, and where do they also donate the cans, or where do the cans come from?
So on the 28th, when we do our swimathon, or
Mhm.
sorry, swim for cans, big difference. The swim for cans, they'll pick up their bags, and that bag will have the number of cans that they bring in on November 7th. So we've already pre-figured out how many laps they're going to do at practice on this Saturday.
So
Even
it's
the JSM.
depending on the number of cans they donate, that's how many laps they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So we based off of, for example, I think I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm just going to give some ballpark here. So, for example, the bronze group, we said, oh, they may do 1,000, so we'll have them donate 4 cans,
Hmm.
and then we kind of went that way. And then what they do on the 7th is they bring that bag in filled, and we collect all the bags, and we will take it to the food bank the
Gotcha.
next day.
That's cool. So have you guys thought about trying to expand that outreach program to the other pools at LAC, or is it just a Northwest thing for now?
We haven't yet. We would love to, if the parents would love to get them, because each of our sites is in a different county.
Oh, wait, you froze. Oh, okay, there you are. You're back. So is that something that you've thought about expanding to the other pools with LAC, or is it just gonna stay a Northwest thing?
Um, Seeing that this was our second year doing it, if there are, and you're doing the podcast, if there are other sites that would love to find out more about how to do it within their site, we'd love to have you be a part of it. We've just made it a part of Northwest because it was something that was near and dear to Jeff's heart, and so we really wanted to do that with our site, especially with it starting brand new and kind of building that community, and swimming being new into our area. We wanted to kind of just find a way to reach the community. But if you are interested and you would love for this to bridge out to your site, reach out to your team moms, the lead mom for your site, and we can set her up with, or he, whoever runs your groups, with the contacts here on how best to do that. I think it would be a great initiative to do across the board. But for right now, starting at Northwest and kind of figuring out how to get it run best is probably a great way to get started. But like I said, if you would love to get this started at your site, please reach out to myself, Beth Pishko at swimlac.org, and I can put you in contact with our representative for the I call them the PTA of swim. They're basically our support group networks that kind of plan our group parties and things like that.
Yeah, and I think Walter said something about he was trying to organize more clear sort of parent things moving forward. So he might be a good person to reach out to as well. Um, yeah, so the swimmers at Northwest, how can they get more involved in this initiative? Like, is there anything that they can do, or is it a pretty set structure already?
Absolutely, bring in those cans.
Yeah.
That would be great. We're also looking for, if there's other sites that would like to participate with us this year, we are more than welcome. We'd love to have your participation in it. The more the merrier. What you could do is you can either donate cans if you're at Keller and you're coming to the JSL meet, next JSL meet, bring your cans with you. If you're at the Colony or you're at Flower Mound, you can bring those cans to either the JSL meet or you can bring them to the Colony. I can pick them up from there when I'm at the Spooky Splash meet. We're also looking for people who have trucks that can help us cart during the day those
With
cans so we
strong
don't break people's
axles.
axles. Right. So we don't break those axles on the car. So if you're interested in any way of getting involved, we would love to have your help.
Awesome. So how do you think that that program supports what we do in the water? Because I know it does, but what's your perspective having seen it for a couple years in a row?
Well, it does two things. One, it builds pride and confidence, or more, it builds thankfulness within the swimmers because it makes them aware of what's going on in the community. It makes them feel a part of the community. So therefore, when they're coming to the pool, we always preach that you are not just representing yourself. You are representing LAC, you're representing your parents, your family. And so when you step out of that pool into the community, into your classroom, no matter where you go, you're representing those people. And so it gives them a sense of pride of who they're representing and who they are. It also makes them appreciative for the things, small things that they have, but it also gives them the opportunity to not only are we giving back, but we're also taking that time to build bonds of relationships and friendships outside the pool through like once we do the donations, we do the donuts and the milk as kind of a way for them to spend time socializing outside the pool to build those friendships and connections so that when they're in the pool, they can support each other as a team, as well as know that there's always somebody there on the pool deck for them through their coaches or through their other teammates.
Yeah, and I think y'all have done a great job with the culture at Northwest. Like you can feel it when you walk on deck. It's just everyone's having fun. They're happy to be there. And, I love seeing like the national kids in the weight room the other day. They're just having a blast and they were working really hard, but they were still having fun. And I think that's a hard thing to create, but it is definitely something that it's tangible. You can see it there. So I think that's cool. Like that contributes to that. And that gratitude
Thank you.
is awesome too. Like the gratitude piece makes me think of when I did mental training working with the military. That was a big thing we would preach of every day doing a hunt the good stuff, because sometimes you got to hunt for it, you can't find it. But the more that you practice gratitude and the more you do that, it helps your nervous system kind of create that pathway of looking for good stuff and looking for optimism, and you're able to reset and be more resilient in things when you can train your brain to do that. So I think that's a cool piece too that you guys are including in that.
One of the things we have strived to do as a staff and as a new program is really build the foundation of this is family. So we say this is our LAC family. And we want to, when you step on that pool deck, we want it to feel like family. And that's important. And if you can do that, then you can build a lot of that support network that every swimmer needs, the parent network that every swimmer needs, and the coach network that every swimmer needs. So we want it to have that small team feel even as we grow, because that's very important to us. We are very family oriented, Jeff and we really want that to be a big part of what we bring to the community. And that's why I say you and Julie and Sarah and Walter and Jessica and Megan have been a huge part of that, as well as all of the staff over at Northwest, all the high school coaches and all of the office staff. We've just been really blessed because they've really helped buy into that team family. And I think that has been a big benefit is we're all starting together in one spot. And so we're growing this together. And so we figure out how to work together and really help each other out.
Well, and I think that is a unique aspect too of, something I've noticed that's interesting with the athletes at that site is it is a lot of relational of like, I want to go swim at this college because that's where my coach went and because I have connections there. And I think connection is a big piece there. So that's just another way to reinforce that.
It
Yeah.
is.
Awesome. So as you kind of grow this program and develop it, is there anything that you would change about it, or is it you like the way it's going already?
Well, as the head site age group coach, there's always things you want to change and grow.
Hmm.
You see things, you learn things. Like Jason says, you're always growing, you're always learning. So therefore, your program is always growing and learning. So one of the big things that we have is growth mindset. And one thing I didn't mention before was, I've taught for 20 years, and so a lot of what I've brought into the classroom as a teacher is kind of what I'm unintentionally, intentionally bring into the program. So yes, I have a professional development plan for myself of growth where I want to be. I know that all my coaches have that growth mindset goal as well. We all have goals on what we want to achieve as professionals, and I know Jason is very big on that. He's very big on have a professional development idea, know where you want to go, what you want to do. And so I'm constantly changing and molding as a coach and growing. So therefore, the athletes are too. And so if you talk about, what things I want to change, of course, growing and developing as a coach myself, um, having left the education field 2 years ago and, you know, learning and growing in this field full time, it is something that I want to continue to do and grow. We would love to see our bronze program grow more. We'd love to see our silver program grow more. But yes, there's still going to be a lot of growth, and we're excited. We're so blessed to learn from all the great coaches at Flower Mound and at Keller and at Colony, and that's something that I say that a lot of people, a lot of parents don't realize about our organization is think about it as an octopus. All of our four sites work together as the head. We all collaborate. We all have jobs. We all work together. But then each one of us is an extension. Each site is an extension of the organization. So the heart and the learning and the growing that I'm getting from all the other coaches within the organization, and also through my own research and development, is how to become a better coach to help my athletes. And I want them to grow as well. One thing I want them to do when they leave my group is I want them to have a good work ethic. I want them to be able to push through the hard things, because they're going to be hard things in life that they go through. And the most important thing they can learn is how do you push through that when times get tough, especially nowadays with mental health. A lot of people aren't that strong in that. So if I can teach those to my kids and get them the training habits they need for the future to be successful, then that's what we're going to do. And we have a great lead with Coach Jeff. He's been in the profession for over 30 years. And bless his heart, he lives with me. I pick his brain every day. He's like, stop. um, but there's a lot of knowledge out there. So I think us growing as a staff is going to be where we're going to see those kids really grow and develop.
Yeah, and I think you hit on a good piece, like teaching them to take, hey, here's what you're doing at the pool. You can also apply this in school. You can also apply this like to your relationships with other people and how you're connecting and how you're dealing with stress. Like I think all of that, it's a place for them to learn those skills that they can then take other places.
Yeah, and I'll give you a good example of the reason and my drive behind that is I showed you a picture, of my dad, and we talk about the big why in practice, and um, get it up here. A lot of people have a big why, and for a long time, I did have a why. And when I was 18, my dad passed away from heart attack, and it was a very difficult time because I was having to raise my younger brother. My mom had kind of shut down, so I was swimming in college, and I was going home every weekend to take care of my brother. But then my mom also was not strong enough to deal with um, the ashes and having to deal with the police and having to deal with all of that. And I tell people every day, had it not been for what I learned through my resilience in swimming, I would never have made it through that ever. That was it. And for me, that's the gift I want to give to them. You know, for a long time, my dad couldn't come to very many meets, but when he did, oh man, it was exciting. But
It's that connection piece, right? That's a piece
that's
of him that you get to keep.
that's what it's given to me, and that's what I want to give back to them.
That's
Is,
awesome.
is that resilience piece of it. So yes, I'm hard. Yes, I'm tough, but I do it with love. I love you guys very much, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for my swimmers. I will help them in any way, shape, or form that they need. But I want them to know that when something like that happens, when they get out of their sport, that what they learned in this sport will carry them through and help them.
That's awesome. I that kind of leads me to my last question, which is, so you've seen both sides of the sport, being a coach, being a parent, and being an athlete. What would your advice be to parents of like how best to support their kids through this process?
Like I kind of wrote in my article, swimming's kind of like a heartbeat. It's continuous. You're going to have your highs. You're going to be doing fantastic. You're going to be doing great. And then you're going to have your times where it really drops and you're adding time. Your stroke looks like crap. You're struggling staying motivated. Um, keep working through those times, keep supporting them because eventually it will go back up. Most of the time it's when people quit in this sport. Jeff always says it's because you've hit those low times and you stop working through those low times because those low times do eventually end. And so if we as parents can stop looking at just the clock, because the clock isn't just going to determine your success. I mean, I love my philosopher, Coach Jeff. The one thing he talks about is, swimming is a process, and so this is the time. This is your goal. This is what you want to go. But there's so much more within this process that will determine success or failure. And I think you, with your mental training, do a wonderful job of being able to point to those being, your mental mindset, your growth mindset, your practice habits, your sleep habits, your eating habits, and your training habits. And so there's many factors that go into that success. And as a parent, um, sometimes they're going to vent. Sometimes they're going to say, I hate this sport. Okay, just listen. Okay. Everything they say and doesn't always mean they truly hate it. They may just hate it for that moment.
Right.
So,
And I
weigh
think
it out.
that really depends on how you're defining success, Like you said, it's not always about the clock. So, yeah.
And as a parent, it is so important that you let the swimmer build that trust between the swimmer and the coach and step aside and let them build that relationship. And the best way that you can help them is sometimes you have to bite your tongue. I mean, I know there's many times that my middle one that's in college now would swim and I'd be like, but don't say anything. The coach has probably already said it, you
Yeah.
know, and as a teenager, you will push them further away and it will make it harder. I always say, like, having gone through the whole grown up process now, I have, well, 3 grown boys almost. Um, teenage years, parents, it will get better, promise. It's like you have this toddler when they're little and they listen to everything you say and they hold on to everything you say. And then they become 11. And 11 is just like a 1-year-old, but bigger body. A 12-year-old's a 2-year-old bigger body. You have the terrible twos. Well, yeah, you're going to have the terrible 12s and 13s, right? They get to 15. What does a 5-year-old like to do? They like to explore. They like to kind of become independent. Well, that's what a 15-year-old's doing, just a bigger body. So you're going to go through some times where you're like, oh my gosh, am I going to make it through? The answer is yes, you will make it through. Hang in there. It does get better. They do come around eventually. Might take time, but they do come around eventually. But make sure that you hold them accountable. I keep going back to Jeff, my Jeff, and that's because he has some great thoughts. And one of the things he always says to his swimmers that I've always, all the rest of us in Northwest bring to him is, if you speak it, it will come true. So therefore, if you are, and you say it too in your mental trainings, I've heard you, if you keep allowing the swimmer or even you yourself as a parent to bring that negativity into it, then that's what's going to result in the pool. As a parent, give them a couple minutes to vent, and then that's it. And one of my favorite quotes from Jeff as his wife was one day I was complaining, and he looked at me and he says, I love you, but if you want to keep complaining, go look in the mirror and talk to yourself because I'm done with it. And I loved it because I was like, that's so good. That's so true.
Yeah.
Because he made me stop in my tracks right there and stop the negativity and turn it around. And that's what we've got to do as parents. And that's the best way to fight that negativity.
Train. It's hard to stop the train, but sometimes you gotta.
It is. It's really hard. It's really hard. You will get through it, parents, I promise. And those of you not getting sleep from toddlers, you'll get through that too, I promise. You got this.
Well, we're almost out of time, but thank you so much for coming on, and I'm sure we'll have you on again to talk about some other stuff. So if anyone's
Absolutely. Thanks
interested
for
in
having
getting
me.
involved, they can reach out to you, right?
Yes. Yes, please do. If you would love to get involved, if you would like to get your site involved in any way, shape, or form, or get any more ideas about community outreach, please reach out to me through my email. I'd love to help you get started. Thank you so much for your time. And Jasmine, thank you for all that you do. And I know last week was Coaches Appreciation Week, or because we're in October. So I just want to say to all the LAC coaches out there, thank you for all that you do. And thank you for helping me grow. And thank you for helping our swimmers grow. We appreciate you.
All right. Well, thank you, Beth.